Hello, my name is Paulina Bellieri, and I will be talking to you today about youth mental health and the mental illnesses a lot of teens struggle with and possible solutions to fix these issues. For those who don't know exactly what mental health is, it is the condition of a person's emotional and psychological state. The state of someone's mental health is completely internal, which means it can be harder to identify if something is wrong with someone's mental health. Unlike physical health, which is external and is more noticeable when something is wrong, both physical and mental health are extremely important to the overall well-being of a person. The question is, why do we prioritize physical health and belittle the importance of mental health? In our society, we consider physical injury much more detrimental to our health than mental injury. We don't see the harm of a mental illness compared to a physical illness, because it is not as easily evident to the eye. We see a person with a broken leg and instantly understand that that person is suffering and needs help. But what about a person with a broken mind, where their suffering is on the inside? How does that person get help? In the U.S., 1 in 5 adults experienced a mental illness in 2019. That means 20% of the country at one time or another in that year had problems with their mental health. The youth population, unfortunately, has similar numbers. 17% of children from ages 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder, and only about half of these children are able to seek medical help. From understanding the seriousness of these mental issues, and how prevalent they are among the population, we can understand why suicide is the second leading cause of death among people ages 10 to 34. People are struggling, and there is not enough focus on the education of these topics in schools and to the public that we can fix the problem. In my personal experience, mental illness was always a topic that never had much attention shown to it. Throughout my schooling years in New Paltz, mental illness was not discussed deeply enough that I attained the knowledge to understand when I was suffering the symptoms of one. I didn't even understand how anxiety was supposed to feel until a friend explained to me I was suffering from it. Imagine all the kids that can't comprehend when they need help because they can't identify their own problem. This happens far too often, especially in the New Paltz School District. We need better education of these mental health topics and an outlet for students to be able to communicate their problems so their mental illnesses can be easily determined. But how do we go about this? I think the best way to implement this type of awareness in schools is to make it a part of the curriculum itself. Just as we prioritize physical health by having gym class, we should prioritize mental health by having individual therapy sessions for each student. Each student would get assigned a therapist by their last name, just as they would with a guidance counselor, and would get the opportunity to be able to speak out the problems they have as a mental exercise. These sessions would be a weekly appointment and would be enveloped into class scheduling, just as any other class would. With these therapy sessions being mandatory in New Paltz schools, it can become more normalized for students to talk about their feelings and also be more exposed to learning the different types of mental illnesses. It will teach kids to not be afraid of opening up and being vulnerable in that way. Therapy sessions have been shown to reduce risk in suicidal youth and can be very beneficial for communities struggling with mental health. If we try to implement this into New Paltz school systems as a trial basis, I think it could really help the kids, and we would see a positive change in mood around the schools. And maybe we can even advance from having individual therapy sessions to having group therapy sessions, where the student body and the faculty can grow as a unit and communicate as a whole. Thank you, and I hope you will take my project into consideration for funding.